Ethan and Lily shared a love story that many admired. They had been high school sweethearts, growing up together through awkward first dates, late-night study sessions, and dreams of the future. Ethan was dependable and steady, the kind of man who would move mountains for those he loved. Lily, on the other hand, was lively and ambitious, lighting up every room with her charm. Their relationship was often seen as a perfect balance, two souls complementing each other in every way. They celebrated their college graduation side by side, toasted their first jobs, and faced life's challenges together. Their home was warm and welcoming, filled with love, laughter, and inside jokes only they understood. But as time went on, change slowly crept in. Lily's career at a fast-growing tech company soared, demanding frequent travel and long hours. Meanwhile, Ethan, working in finance, maintained a stable routine. He was home for dinner every night, making sure their house felt lived in and filled with love. He encouraged Lily to chase her dreams, reassuring her that he would always be there, no matter the sacrifices. Yet, cracks began to form. Lily seemed distant when she was home, often lost in thought or glued to her phone. Ethan convinced himself it was just work stress, but a nagging feeling whispered otherwise. Still, he remained unwavering, believing their bond was strong enough to endure any challenge. As Lily's career soared to new heights, she was promoted to a managerial role, which consumed even more of her time. Long hours and constant travel left little space for Ethan. Their once lively conversations shrank to rushed text messages and brief phone calls. Dinners alone became the norm, and Friday nights that used to be spent curled up together watching movies turned into lonely evenings. Lily's late arrivals, faintly scented with wine from after-work happy hours, became more frequent. The more Ethan tried to reconnect, the more Lily seemed to drift away. Even when she was physically present, her mind was elsewhere, on work, our phone, on anything but him. Ethan kept reassuring himself that he was overthinking things. Lily's success was something to celebrate, and he wanted to be her biggest supporter. But the cracks in their relationship widened, becoming impossible to ignore. New Year's Eve, a night that had always been special to them, felt different this time. Over coffee one morning, Lily casually announced, "Lucas invited me to his annual New Year's party. It's a huge networking opportunity, and everyone important will be there." Ethan masked his disappointment. "What about our plans?" he asked. "We can celebrate tomorrow," she replied dismissively. "This party is important for my career." Ethan wanted to argue, but held back. He knew Lucas, Lily's boss, from a work dinner a month ago. Charismatic and charming, Lucas had a reputation Ethan couldn't ignore, especially the way he had looked at Lily that night. Pushing the thought aside, Ethan convinced himself it was nothing. "I understand," Ethan replied with a forced smile. That evening, Ethan stayed home, distracting himself with books and television. Midnight came and went without a single message from Lily. His worry turned into unease, and by 2 a.m., a message finally arrived. "Had too much champagne. Lucas is giving me a ride home. Love you." When Lily finally returned, carefree and flushed from champagne, she mumbled an apology before collapsing onto the couch. Ethan sat in silence, a terrible feeling gnawing at him. In the following days, Lily grew even more distant. One evening, while she was in the shower, her phone buzzed repeatedly. Trust had always been the foundation of their marriage, but curiosity got the best of him. The message on the screen made his stomach twist. "Last night was incredible. Can't wait to see you again." The sender was Lucas. Ethan scrolled through their chat history, playful teasing, late-night confessions, and side jokes. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It had been happening for weeks. Lily's responses weren't hesitant. They were eager and full of excitement. Every cherished memory of their love now felt tainted. That night, as Lily slept beside him, Ethan made a decision. He couldn't stay. Over the next few days, he quietly prepared to leave. He opened a new bank account, packed only the essentials, and left behind the photos and mementos of a love that no longer existed. He printed the incriminating messages and placed them in an envelope along with his wedding ring. Then he wrote a simple note. "I know everything. Goodbye." He didn't confront Lily. There was no need. No apology or excuse could undo the betrayal. while she was away at another work event. Ethan walked out of their home for good. Every room that had once been filled with cherished memories now felt empty. When Lily returned after midnight, the silence was suffocating. The photographs were gone. An envelope awaited her on the counter. Her hands trembled as she read the screenshots and the brief note. Panic set in. She called him repeatedly, but every call went to voicemail. Desperate messages were left unanswered. Ethan was already gone. In the weeks that followed, Lily's world unraveled. Lucas, the man for whom she had risked everything, quickly distanced himself. The affair had been nothing more than a fleeting indulgence for him. Their once warm home became a painful reminder of everything she had lost. Friends and family, who had once admired their relationship, now offered little sympathy. At work, Lily struggled to focus. The career she had once prioritized above all else now felt meaningless. She spent countless sleepless nights drafting letters to Ethan, filled with apologies and regret. But deep down, she knew she had no right to ask for forgiveness. As for Ethan, leaving Lily wasn't the end of his story. It was the beginning of a new one. He moved to a new city, found a fresh start, and surrounded himself with people who uplifted him. He rediscovered passions he had neglected, hiking, music, and exploring life on his own terms. Later, he received a letter from Lily, a final plea for another chance. He read it carefully, then set it aside. His response was brief. "I once loved you, but I love myself enough to leave you behind." With that, Ethan closed the door on his past and embraced a future filled with resilience, self-love, and the promise of new beginnings.